The movie starts off with 12 to 12 months old Dre Parker and his mother Sherry moving from Detroit to Beijing. They're moving because Sherry has got a activity switch in her car manufacturing unit. They arrive at a small neighborhood where Dre is approached by way of any other American boy. The boy accompanies Dre and his mother to their condominium and enables them with the bags. He then invites Dre to come and play in a nearby park, which may be seen from the apartment window. After some time, the condominium proprietor arrives and suggests her new tenants around. She says that if Sherry desires any preservation undertaking, she can call Mr. Han. He's the condominium's caretaker and knows English very well. After the owner leaves, Sherry hops into the toilet to take a warm bath, but the shower would not seem to be working well, so she asks her son to call Mr. Han. Dre then goes over to Mr. Han's room and calls out for him, but the maintenance guy ignores him as he's busy ingesting his lunch. Simply then Dre sees a few children going over to the park. He follows them there, wherein he eyes a young and quiet violinist, Ken Alsoing, who also reciprocates his interest so that you can provoke her. Dre performs ping pong with a few old guys, however unfortunately loses the sport. May additionally Ing is equally intrigued with the aid of this new man and his humorous antics, so she too can't maintain her eyes off of him. Dre's American pal from earlier advises him to head and talk with Maying. When Dre processes her, Mayong talks with him politely and is even fascinated by his particular dreadlocks. Meanwhile, some of the community boys standing at a distance word them considered one of them Chong, who turns out to be a rebellious kung fu prodigy whose family is near. Mei Ying's attempts to hold them apart. He will become enraged at the young female for making pals with a stranger and throws her papers on the floor. Whilst Dre sees this, he right now selections up the papers and palms them over to Maying. However, Chong turns into hostile in the direction of our little hero. In addition to brutally pushes him to the ground. Because of this, Dre feels severe ache in his chest and additionally sustains bruises beneath his eyes. He then unluckily returns home feeling humiliated. The following day he tries to cover up the bruises underneath his eyes, the use of his mother's makeup. He additionally goes to the school donning a cap. However, he cannot cheat his mom for too lengthy, and she ultimately notices his bruises when she tries to talk to him about it. Dre comes up with an excuse and manages to slip away with the head mistress Lots. To his disappointment, Chong and his buddies also visit the same school. Dre tries to avoid them while he sees them inside the lobby. Later, whilst he returns from school, he tries to examine kung fu even as looking TV simply. Then Mr. Han also arrives on the apartment for maintenance work and notices the boy. He examines the bathroom pipes and fixes them. After finishing his work, he calls Dre and publications him on fixing the pipes. In case of any trouble, he additionally asks the child approximately the wound on his face. But the boy all over again makes up an excuse. He then maintains to practice kung fu, ignoring his mother. Sherry is enraged at him for no longer picking up his wet jacket mendacity at the floor. Whilst this is occurring, Mr. Han notices the whole thing from afar. Tomorrow, at college, Chong and his friends threaten Dre not to make any friends with Chinese youngsters at college together with Maying. Due to this, Dre is left on my own and he leaves the faculty with a disappointed face. That afternoon, he and his mom excursion the local market to purchase groceries. Even as doing so, he hears a few kids practicing kung fu in a close-by public area. He excitedly follows the sound and discovers a grand kung fu academy where people are training in martial arts. He then goes in the Academy best to locate that Chong is one of the highly educated children there Dre's mood quickly modifications and he leaves the scene with a instead sad face. His mom tries to invite him about his mood. But Dre refuses to inform something to her. But after plenty convincing from his mother he eventually bursts into tears, pronouncing he does not like China and how people deal with him here. In truth he needs to return to Detroit as soon as viable. In reaction, his mom tells him that he is being unreasonable and they need some time to relax. Meanwhile Mr. Han appears to be watching the drama unfold from his rental within the next scene. All through a field journey to the forbidden metropolis, Chong and his buddies preserve to bully Dre. They only forestall while the pinnacle mistress intervenes. Even as returning home, Dre comes across buckets of sewage water. Enraged at how he is being handled as of overdue, he throws the water over his bullies. Moments after, Chong and his friends chase and brutally beat Dre up till he is saved by the protection guy, Mr. Han. The bullies assault Mr. Han, however. A great deal to their wonder he well-known shows himself to be a kung fu master. Mr. Han effectively subdues Chong and the bullies before taking an injured Dre to his apartment after supporting the little man along with his accidents. The usage of ancient fireplace cupping strategies. Mr. Han explains that Chong and his pals are not necessarily bad human beings, but they've been influenced with the aid of their guru Master Li, who teaches them to be ruthless. Intrigued, Dre asks Mr. Han to educate him kung fu, but the latter first of all refuses. As an alternative, he takes him to satisfy Grasp Li on the Academy, the Fighting Dragon studio, to reconcile with Chong, but the cruel Grasp Li shows a fight between Dre and Chong. Mr. Han thinks for a while and proposes an exceptional solution. He suggests Dre participate in an open martial arts match in opposition to Grasp Li's college students, and if Dre indicates up, the scholars will leave him alone to educate for the competition. Master Li has the same opinion to the agreement, as he is aware of Dre does not have what it takes to win. Following this, Mr. Han makes a promise to teach Dre kung fu and starts the training by means of specializing in moves that have broader programs in existence. For example, he to begin with makes the boy pick up his moist jacket over and over again. For the primary week, he plans to teach Dre the importance of patience and determination, because kung fu isn't just about fighting talents. Mr. Han, in addition, emphasizes that authentic mastery of martial arts comes from inner calm and adulthood rather than simply physical strength. The schooling that involves repetitive motions with Dre's jacket supposedly builds actual muscle memory. One day Dre methods his crush Maying, and then they make a PCT. They promise every different that Dre will attend can also Ying's audition, and that she will come to Dre's event at any fee. Later, Mr. Han takes Dre to a DS temple in the Wuang Mountains. At the way, he tells the boy that he wishes him to acquire SH's power, the closing test of staying power, and the energy is not attained by way of by using each person else. Arriving at the mountains, Dre observes a lady making a cobra mimic her moves. Right here, Dre also drinks water from an historical doused properly. He learns that the water gives him inner energy and coherence. Mr. Han additionally teaches him with some sticks along the riverside. After completing the day, Mr. Han allows him to spend time with Might alsoing. They've some fun inside the marketplace, tasting different food and indulging in exclusive sports. Amidst this, Maying almost finally ends up missing her violin audition, which was rescheduled without her expertise. Due to this, her dad and mom categorized Dre as an awful effect. and forbid her from seeing him again. Simply then Chang and his friends arrive on the auditorium and mock him. In addition, they remind him of the imminent match and threaten to get rid of him inside the first round. The next day Dre visits Han and discovers him seemingly under the influence of alcohol, smashing a car he was running on. Han then exhibits a heartbreaking story too. Dre years in the past he had crashed the equal automobile maimed to the tragic deaths of his spouse and 10 to 12 months vintage son. Notwithstanding solving the auto yearly, Han intentionally destroys it as a painful reminder of the devastating incident. This revelation deeply impacts Dre, motivating him to teach even harder to help his instructor heal from the emotional wounds. Over the following few weeks, Mr. Han keeps to train Dre and even takes the kid to the notable Wall of China. Dre gradually masters the kung fu talents along with his hard paintings and dedication. In the intervening time, Mei Ying continues to disregard him at faculty. Mr. Han notices Dre's alternatively upset mood during one among their education classes. The little boy then opens up about his ruined friendship with Mei Ying. Hearing his phrases, Mr. Han assists him in writing and delivering an honest apology in Mandarin to Mei. Additionally, Ying's father, luckily, the person accepts the apology and assures him that Mei Ying could be gifted at the match to assist him. Later, Mr. Han takes Dre to the event venue. He needs the child to be organized for the putting and additionally palms him a gown to put on day after today. Inside the next scene, it is subsequently the match day, and Mr. Han makes Dre remember the fact that he has to get 2 factors so that it will win. A healthy to start with. The boy struggles to preserve up with his extra confident competition. In his first healthy he backs down, because of which his opponent is able to relax the first point for himself simply. Whilst it seems that he's going to be removed, Mr. Han shouts a few words of encouragement at him. This is enough to rile Dre up, and he finally ends up knocking his opponent down, hence securing the victory. Dre finally reaches the semifinals, and Mr. Han makes him keep in mind that he has to comfort